9 pet foods are vanishing from store shelves right now, and most owners won't find out until the bowl is empty and the replacement isn't there. 3 major brands have quietly pulled formulas in the last 90 days. Prices on what's left have jumped as much as 40%. And one item on this list, number 3, is something almost every puppy owner depends on without realizing how fragile the supply has become. Some of these foods are gone because of recalls that never made the news. Some because demand tripled while production stayed flat. Some because the ingredient suppliers themselves are running thin. By the time a shortage hits the headlines, the shelf has already been empty for 6 weeks. The owners who notice early are the ones who never run out. So before your next trip to the store, you're going to want to know exactly which 9 to watch for, what to grab, and what to stock before everyone else figures out what's happening. Let's get into it. Starting with number 9, prescription kidney support dry food. This is the category most owners overlook because they assume prescription products are always stocked. They're not. Veterinary kidney diets, the kind senior cats and older dogs depend on for managing chronic renal issues, have been running into rolling shortages for months. The reason comes down to ingredient sourcing. These diets use very specific protein levels and phosphorus binders that come from a small handful of suppliers, and when one supplier hits a delay, the entire production line stalls behind it. Owners have been walking into clinics expecting their usual bag and being told it's on backorder for 6 to 8 weeks. If your pet is on a renal diet, get ahead of this. Buy 2 bags instead of 1 on your next refill. Sealed and stored in a cool, dry spot, the unopened bag holds quality through its printed shelf life. Missing even a couple of weeks on a kidney diet can undo months of careful management. And switching to a non-prescription substitute on short notice can trigger flare-ups that send pets straight back to the vet. That alone makes this the first one worth handling this week. Number 8 is something a lot of cat owners are about to feel before they understand why. Single protein, limited ingredient wet cat food. Specifically, the rabbit, duck, and venison varieties. This was already a niche product, but it's the only option for cats with serious food sensitivities, and demand has climbed sharply as more vets push elimination diets for skin issues, vomiting, and chronic loose stool. The catch is that novel proteins like rabbit and venison come from much smaller supply chains than chicken or beef. One processing facility hits trouble, one shipment delays at port, and the entire category empties out for weeks. Prices on these cans have climbed 30 to 40% in the last 18 months, and several smaller brands have quietly dropped them from their lineup because they couldn't keep up. If your cat is on one of these for a medical reason, build a quiet buffer. A case or 2 in the pantry costs almost nothing today, but scrambling to find rabbit pate during a regional shortage with a sensitive cat at home is a completely different kind of stress. Which brings us to number 7, and this one quietly affects more households than people expect. Freeze-dried raw food toppers. The small bags of crumbled raw meat designed to be sprinkled over kibble for added nutrition and palatability. These exploded in popularity over the last few years because they solve the picky eater problem almost overnight. The issue is that freeze-drying is slow, expensive, and equipment-intensive, and the companies making these toppers are already running near full capacity. Any disruption, a power issue at the plant, a sourcing problem with the protein, a packaging material delay, and the shelf empties for a month. Owners who've come to rely on these to coax a fussy dog or cat into eating are suddenly back to square one. The smart play here is to keep a backup bag in the freezer. Freeze-dried product freezes beautifully and holds quality almost indefinitely. If your pet eats because of the topper, treat the topper like medicine. Don't let it run out. Now, number 6, and this matters more than most owners realize. Hydrolyzed protein dog food. This is the prescription category for dogs with severe food allergies, the kind where standard limited ingredient diets aren't enough. Proteins in these foods are broken down so far that the immune system can't recognize them, which is remarkably effective and also remarkably difficult to manufacture. Only a handful of global producers can make hydrolyzed protein at the scale veterinary brands need, and production bottlenecks have been hitting this category over and over. Owners are reporting waits of several weeks for refills. Some have been told to switch their dogs to alternative formulas, which can mean restarting an elimination protocol from scratch and undoing months of progress on a dog's skin or gut. If your dog is on hydrolyzed food, talk to your vet about authorizing a slightly larger refill than usual. Most clinics will approve it once you explain the supply situation. For dogs whose health depends on this category, getting ahead isn't optional. This next one matters even more. Number 5. Large breed senior dry dog food. Sounds boring on the surface. It isn't. Large breed seniors need very specific calorie densities, joint-supporting ingredients like glucosamine and chondroitin, and lower phosphorus levels than standard adult formulas. The bags are big, heavy, and costly to ship, and several major brands have been quietly reformulating or discontinuing specific senior SKUs because the margins don't justify the production complexity anymore. Owners walk in expecting the same bag they've bought for 3 years and find a new formula sitting in its place, or nothing at all. The real problem is that switching senior dogs abruptly between foods often triggers digestive upset, loose stool, or appetite loss, which is the last thing an older, large breed dog needs. If your senior is on a specific formula, check the brand's website for any reformulation announcements, and grab an extra bag while your exact version is still on the shelf. Once a major brand changes a recipe, the original doesn't come back. We're halfway through, and number 4 is where this gets serious for a huge segment of pet owners. Grain-inclusive, chicken-based dry dog food in the mid-tier price range. This is the category millions of average dogs eat every single day. The shift away from grain-free a few years ago pushed enormous demand back into grain-inclusive formulas, and the combination of chicken prices and grain market volatility has squeezed manufacturers from both ends. Several mid-tier brands have shrunk their bag sizes without lowering prices. Others have swapped ingredients for cheaper alternatives that owners may not notice until they actually read the new panel. Distribution has gone patchy too. A formula that's stocked reliably in one region might be missing entirely 2 states over. If your usual bag costs more, weighs less, or has a slightly different ingredient order on the back, you're not imagining it. Snap a photo of the current ingredient panel on your next bag so you'll catch any quiet reformulation early. And if your dog does well on a specific formula, don't wait for the shelf to empty before buying the next one. Top 3 coming up, and number 3 is the one that affects almost every new puppy owner watching right now. Number 3. Standard puppy dry food from major mainstream brands. Puppy formulas require carefully balanced calcium to phosphorus ratios, higher fat content, and DHA from fish oil or similar marine sources for brain development. That DHA component is where the trouble starts. Fish oil supply has been tight globally, and the specific marine ingredients used in puppy formulas have seen meaningful price increases. Several major brands have adjusted their formulations quietly, and a few specific puppy SKUs have disappeared from shelves entirely in certain regions. New puppy owners are especially exposed here because they usually don't have a stockpile, and they're dealing with a young, fast-growing animal whose nutritional needs are non-negotiable. If you have a puppy, buy a backup bag this week. If you're about to bring one home, confirm the specific food you plan to use is currently stocked in your area before the puppy arrives. Switching a puppy's food repeatedly because of supply issues can cause digestive problems that take weeks to settle, and that's the kind of stress nobody wants in the first months with a new pet. Number 2. Specialty wet food for small breed seniors and dental issue pets. The soft, easy-to-chew category for older small dogs and cats who can't manage kibble anymore, and for pets recovering from dental procedures. Looks like a niche on paper, isn't? It serves an enormous population of aging pets, and the products are surprisingly difficult to manufacture and ship. The high moisture content makes them heavy and expensive to transport. The cans and pouches require specialized packaging, and the formulations need to be soft enough to eat without teeth, while still being nutritionally complete. Several brands have quietly trimmed their senior wet food lines, and what's left is climbing in price in a way owners on fixed incomes are starting to feel sharply. If your senior pet depends on wet food because of missing teeth, dental issues, or appetite trouble, this is one of the most important categories on the entire list to get ahead of. Unopened wet food holds for a long time, so building a small stockpile is genuinely easy and gives you real peace of mind. A senior pet who can't chew kibble and suddenly can't find their wet food is a vet visit waiting to happen. And number 1, the pet food most owners completely overlook until it's gone: prescription gastrointestinal recovery diets. These are the formulas vets prescribe after surgery, during pancreatitis flare-ups, for chronic IBD, or for any acute digestive event. Highly digestible, low-fat, gentle on the gut, and absolutely essential during recovery. They're also produced by a very small number of manufacturers, and the supply has been inconsistent for more than a year. Owners have shown up at the vet mid-crisis, only to find the recommended diet on back order, forcing them to use less ideal substitutes during the exact moment their pet needs the right food the most. Here's the move that almost no one thinks of until it's too late. Ask your vet whether you can keep a bag or a case of cans of the recovery diet at home as a household emergency supply. Many vets will authorize it, especially for pets with any history of digestive issues. Sealed prescription food lasts for months, and having it on hand when something goes wrong is the difference between a calm recovery and a chaotic emergency. This one item can directly affect whether a pet recovers smoothly from a sudden illness, and it's the one most owners have never even thought to stock. So here's what to actually do tonight. Walk to wherever your pet's food is kept. Look at the bag your pet is currently eating. Note the exact formula name and the date code. Then ask yourself one honest question. If that product disappeared for the next 2 months, would you be fine, or would you be scrambling? If you'd be scrambling, you already know which item from this list to grab on your next trip out. Not a panic buy, just one extra bag, one extra case, one quiet move that puts you ahead of whatever the supply chain does next. Pet food shortages don't announce themselves on the news. They show up as an empty shelf where your usual bag used to sit, and by then, the owners who were paying attention have already grabbed the last of it. Be one of those owners. Your pet won't know the difference. You will.